do you feel it? We're not going to now judge ourselves as evil should we feel it when the fruit of death comes against our lives.
Right.
We're not going to now act like we shouldn't feel it, and what's wrong with us that we do feel it. One of the worst things that I did with the gospel as a young guy, because I was into perfectionism, was I had this view that the gospel was going to get me to the place where nothing ever impacted me, ever.
Right.
And that would be the evidence that I was as I ought to be.
Sure.
So, if my soul was never subverted, I'm as I ought to be.
Right.
If I never felt anger towards anybody, I'm as I ought to be. If I never felt frustrated with anybody, I'm as I ought to be. Well, that's living by the knowledge of good and evil, where I had a knowledge that this is good and this would be evil. So if my soul subverted, that's evil, not good. If I feel frustrated, that's evil, not good.
Right.
If I feel angry for a second, that's evil and not good. And then I would judge myself by that. Right? But what happens is when you understand the impact that death has on your heart, you find your heart rejecting accusation because it makes sense to you why it could impact you negatively.
Sure.
You start to think, nah, duh, like when we were in high school, nah, duh, we would say that to each other.
That's right.
It's like, nah, duh, if the fruit of death comes shooting out at me, I might not like it.
Yeah.
So, nah, duh, that I might feel frustrated. And in understanding the impact that death has on the soul of a human, and that humans were never created to see death, you find something in you where you give yourself grace. Because you don't judge yourself as evil because you felt the impact of death.
Amen.
Jesus felt the impact of death.
Yeah.
He sweat blood. The only thing about him is he didn't say, what's wrong with me that I'm sweating blood?
Right.
When he hung on the cross, man, he felt that. He wasn't like, oh, who cares? You know? No. It says he tasted the weakness we felt.
Right.
He felt the weight of it. And so it's a very real thing. He can reach out his hand and say, me too, man, and I'm the sinless one.
Yeah.
And that's how he is the merciful high priest.
Yes.
Right.
Because he experienced everything we experience.
Right.